In this video, we're going to start to talk about the vocabulary that we're going to use throughout our geometry course, especially in the beginning of the year. Vocabulary is not necessarily the most exciting thing to discuss in the world, but it's really important. It's the basis of communication, is understanding what our words mean. If we were to have a discussion about freedom, and I say, well, I think we have a lot of freedom, and you say, well, I don't think we have much freedom at all, but we don't mean the same thing when we talk about freedoms, we're not having an argument there. We're not even having a discussion because our words aren't being understood by the other person, since we don't know what we mean when we talk about freedom. Geometry as a class is about mathematical communication as much as it's about problem solving. So let's take a look at some of the basic words that we're going to be using and just have a general idea of not just what they mean overall, but kind of getting into the nitty-gritty a little bit. All right, when we're talking about the plane, we've got points on the plane. All right, so here are a couple of points. When we label points in the plane, we're going to use capital letters. So I will call this A, and I will call this B. And I already see what my problem is. Participants, do I have any other options here? Video settings. Here are my video. Okay. So when we have the plane, we have points on the plane, just as we have 2 points here. We label points with capital letters. We're going to use lowercase letters the same way we did in algebra to indicate some variable whose value we don't know. Now, there are a couple of ways that we can connect points. I could create something that starts at A and goes along until it reaches B and then stops. This is called a line segment. Another option we could have, maybe I'll put it down here, is we have points C and D. Maybe I want to have something that doesn't have a start or a finish. All right, so it passes through C and D, but it goes off infinitely far in both directions. So in algebra, when you were graphing functions and you wanted to be clear that a function went on forever, how did you make that clear when you drew that line? Bonus points for you if you said, well, we should draw arrowheads at the end of our line. All right, so this is called a line. So notice that a line segment is a part of a line. We've got a start point and we have a finish point. Another thing that we encounter from time to time, not very often in geometry, but it's worth talking about, is we might have something where we want to have a starting point. So this starts at E, it goes through F, and then it goes on forever. So I'm going to have the arrowhead, just one arrowhead in this case. All right. The word we're going to use for this is array. And you can think of this like a ray of sunshine or a laser ray or something like that. Something like a ray of sunshine starts at the sun and it travels in a straight line until it reaches us. A laser ray starts at the laser machine and then points off in one direction. X-rays start from that camera and then they pass through you. And they honestly, they keep going, but they make a difference in that screen behind you. So these are the 3 basic ideas that we have as far as lines. We have line segments, rays, and lines. And when we talk about these 3 things in sentences, we're going to use different concepts to write them. So if I want to write the line segment that starts at A and ends at B, I'm going to write AB, and I'm going to draw a bar on top of it. When I've got the line connecting C and D, I'm going to do the same thing, except to make it clear that this is a line, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the line. I'm going to put an arrowhead on top of each side there. And array, I'm going to be halfway in the middle. So this is array that starts at E, travels in the direction of F, and keeps on going. All right. The last kind of idea that we want to be sure that we're talking about is if I've got a line, let me draw a line here. And I've got 3 points that are on that line. So X, Y, and Z are all points on this line. I want to be able to say that. Not any 3 points on a plane are on the same line. So this is a special thing talking about X, Y, and Z. And to make that clear, what I'm going to say is I'm going to say that X, Y, and Z are collinear. All right, and the word collinear, it's got the word linear in there to make you think about lines, and it's got the word co, which makes you think maybe about working together. So you've got words like cooperation and company and things like that. So these are just saying that these 3 points are all on the same line. That's going to be important information for us to think about. Another thing to think about every once in a while we use lowercase letters to talk about a line itself. For instance, you might see like a line, so that is a lowercase cursive L or a lowercase cursive M. So you might see letters like this along with lines to make it clear that those are the name of the line. So I might say that X, Y, and Z are all on line lowercase cursive L. Okay? So these are the basic ideas that we're talking about here. So my goal for this video, hopefully you can do all of these things. So you understand what a point is, what a line segment, a line array is. You know the difference between line segments, arrays, and lines, which is whether or not they have starting points or ending points, or whether they go off infinitely in no directions, one direction, or 2 directions. And you know the correct notations for line segments, arrays, and lines.